Welcome back to the KDPG Sunday edition. I'm Megan Schiller. This past week brought a major shift in college sports. One of the largest states in our country, California, signed a bill that would allow college athletes to sign endorsement deals. That means they can profit off of their name and image. Things like maybe getting paid to sponsor summer camps or use their avatars in video games, even make money repping car dealerships. Now, California was the first state to pass such a law, and Pennsylvania might end up being the second. So two representatives from here in Allegheny County just joined together to circulate a similar bill in Harrisburg. So the question is, will our state follow California's lead, and what impact could that have on college sports? So this morning on the KDPG Sunday edition, I'm joined by one of the men behind possibly bringing this law here to Pennsylvania, State Representative Dan Miller. Thanks so much for being here with me.
Thank you for letting me come. I appreciate it.
So many people wonder, how does a former firefighter and Mount Lebo guy get involved in this?
Yes. I still am a volunteer firefighter in Mount Lebanon,
Great.
but I got to throw that out there. It's a great department. I've been paying attention to this issue for quite some time. We have some friends who've been involved and contact with the Players Association, the College Players Association. So I've been following the effort. They actually have done some events here in Pittsburgh over the years, and as they built up a consensus and talked about the issues that are affecting college players. So I was always watching it, right?
Yeah.
So we remained in contact, watched what occurred in California, like you mentioned, and then saw California as an opportunity for us to be part of that discussion and to broaden the issue. Once we saw that it had a bipartisan push, we said, now's the time, let's take that as a template and let's move in Pennsylvania.
And that group that you're mentioning, they claim right there, like really the only people that advocate for the rights of these college players. I
could definitely tell you they're the only group that I'm aware of, and they're the only group that has reached out to have the networks that I've been in touch with. So they've done a fantastic job, I think, and they have great leadership at the top.
So the governor of California is in a barber shop with none other than LeBron signing this legislation. How big of a deal do you think it is for first that it's California, and then LeBron James, you can see on the screen there, is tweeting, holding it up, saying he thinks this is going to change the lives for so many athletes. I mean, how huge is that?
You know, look, we consider this, when I talked to Representative Ed Gainey, who is my co-prime on this bill, you know, we consider this to be a game changer, so to speak, but a paradigm shift in relation to college sports. Look, there's no doubt, of course, this was not a universally acclaimed bill. There are people who have concerns about it. I would note that the bill did have a overwhelming bipartisan support in California once it really got moving. So the vote really came through strong. But we do know there are those who you know, are sort of, I would say, controlling certain things in college sports now, who, despite their industry bringing in multi-billion dollars a year, are not appreciative of some aspects of this bill.
Now, how do you even begin to get the ball rolling here, you know, with your fellow representative, and where are you at in the process of writing the legislation? What does it look like?
It's done, yeah. So Ed and I, Representative Gainey and I, we're already done. So we circulated the memo this past Monday. We got somewhere around maybe 24 co-sponsors on the bill so far, which is pretty quick. And we formally introduced the language of it yesterday, before the end of business yesterday. So that's out there.
It's fresh,
Very fresh. It's very public. We've been sharing it with whomever asks. It overwhelmingly is similar to the California bill. There are some changes, especially, you know, Pennsylvania being a Commonwealth. There are some differences, right, between the states that come up. So, but 90 to 95% of the bill is following the California model, and that's on purpose. We saw that it had, again, strong bipartisan support, so we weren't looking to throw big curveballs in it that might detract some of the success that brought both parties together on this bill in California.
And for people who maybe haven't read a lot about this, it is important to point out it's not like the schools are going to be paying these athletes. They're going to be getting paid in ways that they've always wished they could but never could. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, and why you think that they should be able to ask for money when they're at their most marketable time in their career?
Well, you bring up a key point to it. Obviously, in my mind, this does nothing in relation to taking money from colleges, right? So, and I often think you're I know have a connection to Mount Lebanon. Look, we have a very successful, for example, pop singer who came out of Mount Lebanon, right?
Yeah.
There you go. A young lady, I forget her age. I know it has to be somewhere around 20, 21, somewhere in that ballpark at this point. And she clearly had tremendous success. But she's been able to, ever since she was 18, enter into contracts, do endorsements, get an agent, have sponsorships, whatever she wants to do, right? So she at 18, 19, 20, and so forth, has been able to
set her up, yeah.
And to contract directly as an adult. Well, this bill, in essence, says, well, why couldn't you do the same thing for a star lacrosse player or for a basketball player, right, who plays college? Why not treat them the same way that you treat every 18 and older adult and allow them to contract as they will? So if they can go, I think one of your examples was a car dealership or something, right? If you can go and make a little bit of more money because of your success that you're having on the field, why not do it, right? So first, it's an economic quality of freedom issue, I think, across the board. Treat them all the same. As to why do it, I mean, besides the fact that I think that you should treat them the same, look, you have a multi-billion-dollar industry. Only a small percentage of our college athletes are going on for professional sports, making the big bucks that people talk about. The majority of them, this is the zenith of their career, right? So why not allow them to maximize that moment, if they can? Give them the opportunity to do so. Right.
We also always think of the big sports, you know, Pitt football, Penn State football, basketball, but there are some other sports, and especially women's sports, where there might not be a professional equivalent. So these students might be the best in their respective field, and then they can't transition to pro, and then they feel kind of left in the dust.
Or even when there are sometimes a female equivalent, like the WNBA, you're not going to make the income that you would in the NBA, right? So look, I think there's a variety of reasons as far as the equality across the board. Look, these athletes, and I've talked to many from the Players Association in particular with it, but they put in tremendous amount of work. And obviously what we get from people is they say, well, don't they get scholarships, so they should be happy, right? And I'm like, okay, well, there's no doubt that many people, especially Division I, they're getting scholarships. That's very true. But I still don't know why you say then that the adult shouldn't be allowed to contract with whomever they could to benefit themselves off their name. And then the second point about it is that you're making multi-billion dollars and saying, look, we gave you $55,000, so you should be happy. Yeah.
The NCAA obviously is not happy with this. And I'm curious what legal obstacles you think you're going to have to run into, because they have made it pretty clear they're going to try to fight this as best they can.
There's no doubt that the interests who are controlling the multi-billion dollars don't want to share that with the workers who are responsible for the success on the field. I think that's not news anywhere, right? So, look, I can't profess to be an NCAA expert. I will tell you that during this past week of discussions throughout the area on this topic, I found people who love our bill and don't like the NCAA, and I found people who hate our bill and don't like the NCAA. So there seems to be a whole bunch of issues that relate to the NCAA, to which, again, I cannot speak to. But I get it. Look, again, if you're able to be the gatekeeper to billions of dollars, and you recognize that part of the way that you're able to manage this is by making sure that you're taking the people who are doing the hard work and making sure they're just satisfied by a scholarship or something, then you're going to do that. You're going to want to keep that game going. So they lost that argument and battle in California. I believe that California is going to light the way for the nation. I do believe you're going to have a paradigm shift in college sports. And my hope is that Pennsylvania is at the forefront helping to craft that new frontier rather than traditionally, all too often, being the last to jump on the bus.
Because Rep. Gainey said he sees so many kids come back to our area that were standouts, and then they come back home to Pittsburgh and they have nothing to show for it. So this law could help. It's not going to be right away. It would be middle schoolers, junior high, because it's not till 2023 in California, and maybe even later for us, right?
Well, obviously, we got to get the bill through a committee and so forth. There's a process. But I will tell you, just to be honest, our draft, we moved up that date. So, our draft would make it that it would be effective in 2020. So, but that's as the bill is written. A compromise and changes happen if the bill gets the attention that we hope it does. But I saw no reason to delay. And somebody would, one of my conversations when it talked about delaying to 2023, I did not find compelling. So we said, let's move it up.
Well, thank you so much for offering all of your input on this, and best of luck with your legislation. Representative Dan Miller, appreciate talking to you.
Thanks for the time.
All right, well, we'll be right back in just a moment when the KDPG Sunday edition continues.